In the year 2287, the Galactic Council had cataloged over 4,000 intelligent species across the known universe. 4,000 species, each one unique, each one dangerous in their own way. The Vorkai hunted in packs of thousands, stripping planets bare within days. The Devorian Empire had conquered over 60 star systems in 2 centuries. The Krath were born soldiers, their young trained to fight before they could even speak. And then there were humans, small, soft, fragile-looking, 2 arms, 2 legs, no armor plating, no claws, no venom, no natural weapons of any kind. And yet, every species in the known galaxy had learned one thing very quickly after humans joined the Galactic Council. You do not push a human twice. Nobody knew why. Not really. Not until the day Ambassador Zixara decided to ask. Zixara was old, even by Valori standards. He had lived through 11 wars, watched 3 civilizations collapse, and personally negotiated peace treaties that lasted centuries. He had seen everything, or so he thought. He tapped 4 of his 6 fingers nervously on the crystal table as the council chamber filled with representatives from across the galaxy. The chamber itself was enormous, a floating station orbiting a dying red star, built 10,000 years ago by a civilization that no longer existed. Its walls were transparent, showing the infinite black of space beyond. Stars glittered like cold eyes watching everything below. Today's agenda had only one item: Earth. The humans, Zixara began, his translator chip converting his clicks into standard galactic, have been members of this council for exactly 30 years today. He paused, letting that number settle over the room. In those 30 years, they have never declared war. Not once. Not a single military action. Not a single first strike. Not even a border dispute that escalated beyond words. Silence. The kind of silence that meant everyone was thinking the same thing, but nobody wanted to say it first. Ambassador Kreeth of the Devorian Empire leaned forward slowly, her silver scales catching the light. She was beautiful in the way that predators are beautiful, dangerous, precise. That is highly unusual, she said carefully. Unusual? Zixara pulled up a holographic display above the table. In those same 30 years, the Valori fought 11 wars. The Devorians fought 7 campaigns. Even the Lumari, the most peaceful species we know, had 3 border conflicts. He expanded the display to show Earth's file. It glowed soft blue. 0 wars declared, 0 invasions launched, 0 first strikes recorded, 0 retaliatory strikes on record. They have been provoked, Zixara continued, 14 times by my count. Border violations, resource theft, 2 incidents involving the deaths of their citizens. He looked around the room. Every single time, they responded with diplomacy, with words, with negotiation. General Mothka of the Krath had been silent until now. He was massive even by Krath standards. Gray armored skin, 4 arms, eyes like black stone set deep in a face built for war. He laughed, a sound like boulders grinding together. They are weak, he growled, slamming one of his massive fists on the crystal table hard enough to crack it. I have studied their soldiers, watched their military exercises. They are small, they are slow. They feel pain like prey animals. They avoid war because they are afraid. Several representatives nodded slowly. We should test them, Mothka continued, leaning forward. A small incident, a border patrol that goes slightly too far. See exactly how the great humans respond to real pressure. The room was quiet again. Nobody agreed out loud, but nobody disagreed either. The doors to the chamber slid open. She walked in quietly. No announcement, no escort, no ceremonial armor or weapons or banners. Just a woman, Commander Sarah Chen, Earth's senior representative to the Galactic Council. By human standards, she was considered old, gray streaks running through her black hair, lines at the corners of her dark eyes. She was small even by human measurements, thin, unarmed. She had heard everything from the corridor outside. "Forgive my lateness," she said simply, taking her seat at the human section of the table. Her voice was calm, unhurried, like someone who had all the time in the world. General Mothka stared at her the way a predator stares at something it has not yet decided whether to eat. "Human," he said slowly. "We were just discussing your civilization's interesting habit of avoiding conflict." Sarah Chen looked at him, just looked. She did not smile. She did not frown. She simply looked at him with those dark, quiet eyes. And something in that look made General Mothka's translator, Chip, struggle to identify what it was seeing. It was not fear, that much was certain. It was not anger either. It was something else entirely, something older than both of those things. Something that had been alive in human eyes for 100,000 years before they ever looked up at the stars. Mothka found, to his great annoyance, that he could not hold her gaze. "We don't avoid war because we're afraid, General," Sarah said at last. Her voice was still soft, still completely calm. "We avoid war because we remember what happens when we don't." She stood up and walked slowly to the holographic display. With one finger, she changed Earth's file. The soft blue glow turned deep red. The room went very still. Data file. Earth. Historical records. Pre-galactic contact. Total armed conflicts recorded more than 10,000. Total casualties across all conflicts, 1.2 billion. Nuclear weapons developed, 15,000 warheads. Biological weapons programs, classified. Chemical weapons programs, classified. Directed energy weapons, classified. Current status of all weapons programs, voluntarily decommissioned upon first contact with Galactic Council. Nobody spoke. Zixara stared at the numbers. He had lived through 11 wars. His people had suffered greatly, but 1.2 billion. "We are a violent species," Sarah said quietly, still looking at the display. "We have always been violent. For most of our history, we solved our problems with weapons, with blood, with destruction." She turned to face the room. "We were very, very good at it." She let that settle for a moment. "The nuclear weapons alone could have ended all life on our planet 17 times over. We built them anyway. We pointed them at each other anyway. We came within minutes of using them, more than once." She walked back to her seat slowly. "We didn't stop because we ran out of enemies. We didn't stop because we became too weak to fight. We stopped because we looked at what we had built, what we were capable of doing to each other and to our world, and we made a choice." She sat down. "A very hard choice. The hardest thing our species has ever done." She looked at General Mothka one more time. "We chose to be better." The general said nothing. For the first time in his long military career, he found he had nothing to say. 3 weeks after that council meeting, the incident happened. A Krath border patrol operating near the Kepler-7 system opened fire on a human civilian cargo vessel without warning. The ship was called the Meridian Star. It was carrying medical supplies to a human colony on Kepler 7c. 17 crew members, 12 men, 5 women. The youngest was 19 years old. The oldest was 62. None of them survived. The Krath Patrol commander filed it as a navigational error, a tragic misunderstanding. These things happen in the vastness of space. The Galactic Council held its breath. This was the moment everyone had been waiting for, the test General Mothka had been hoping for. How would the humans respond? There was talk of war preparations. Emergency council sessions were called. Species across the galaxy quietly began choosing sides, calculating distances, assessing their own military readiness. Everyone waited for the human fleet to appear. Instead, a message arrived, just a message. It read, "To the Krath Empire, we are aware of the incident at Kepler 7. We have recovered the flight recorder from the wreckage of the Meridian star. We have reviewed the data. We know what happened. We know it was not an accident. We are formally requesting a response from the Krath Empire within 72 hours. We ask for a full explanation, a formal acknowledgement of responsibility, and fair compensation for the families of our 17 crew members. We hope this matter can be resolved through peaceful dialogue. We genuinely, sincerely hope that. But we want to be completely clear about one thing. We will not ask twice." General Mothka read the message 3 times. Then he laughed. "Words," he said, shaking his massive head. "They send us words. After we destroyed their ship, after we killed their people, they send us a politely worded message." His officers laughed with him. The 72 hours began. Hour 1, hour 12, hour 24. Nothing from the Krath, no response, no acknowledgement. Hour 48, hour 60, hour 72, silence. On the 73rd hour, every Krath military scanner in the Kepler sector activated simultaneously. Not one contact, not 10, 417 vessels. They dropped out of faster-than-light travel in absolute perfect formation. Silent, precise, like they had rehearsed this moment 10,000 times. One ship appeared directly above every single Krath military installation in the sector, supply depots, communication arrays, shipyards, forward bases, all of them covered simultaneously. No weapons were powered up, no targeting systems were activated, no threatening communications were broadcast. They simply appeared and waited. General Mothka stared at his scanner screens. His 4 hands were completely still. His officers were silent around him. 417 ships. He had not known the humans had 417 ships. Nobody had known. And then the communication channel opened. Every screen in every Krath facility in the sector showed the same face. Commander Sarah Chen. She looked exactly as she had in the council chamber. Calm, quiet, those dark eyes giving nothing away. She said 4 words. We asked once, nothing else. The silence that followed lasted 4 minutes and 11 seconds. Then the Krath Empire issued a full and complete formal apology, accepted full responsibility for the destruction of the Meridian star, agreed to full compensation for the families of all 17 crew members. General Mothka was quietly relieved of his command the following day. Not a single weapon had been fired. Not a single life had been lost. Not a single act of war had been committed. But every species watching from across the galaxy had finally understood something that day. Something that changed how they thought about humans forever. Humans did not avoid war because they were weak. Humans did not avoid war because they were afraid. Humans avoided war because they remembered with every cell in their bodies exactly what they were capable of, what their history had made them, what lived just beneath that calm diplomatic surface. And they had chosen every single day not to let it out. But it was there. It had always been there, waiting. And that is why, in 30 years of Galactic Council membership, no species had ever pushed humanity a second time. Not one. The question was never whether humans could fight. The question was whether anything in the galaxy could survive it if they did. What happens when one civilization is finally foolish enough to find out? Part 2 is coming. subscribe to Human Protocol. You will not want to miss what happens next.